I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Spirit. Woke up this morning with my mind stayed on Spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on Spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on Spirit. Walking and talking with my mind stayed on Spirit. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
In the name of love, with a heart of grace, overflow in us and decorate this place. As it is below, so it is above. May we always stand in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one. In the name of love, when the day is done, we will sing this song all as one. In the name of love. In the name of love, we always be seeking out the best till we all are free. Living in a world we've been dreaming of, where we stand as one in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one in the name of love. 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 When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one in the name of love. When the veil is gone, there's only one of us, only one in the name of love. When the day is done, we will sing this song all as one in the name of love. 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 Oh yeah. In the name of love. 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 Peace and blessing. We love you.
Always helps to have another song lined up. Okay, I see the needles bouncing. Give me some thumbs up, y'all. Are you hearing me now? No, that was not fun. That was not funny. Are you hearing me now? Well, I'm going to say that you are. So let me begin again. Good morning, CSL, Simi Valley. Welcome to another Sunday morning of Virch. So happy to have you here on this Mother's Day morning. And I want to do a welcome and a gratitude to all the mothers out there. And I want to start with a mother that is the mother to us all from my own particular understanding. And as I was saying earlier, what I was saying earlier was I had this experience that, you know, I didn't grow up Catholic. So I don't bring some of that recovering Catholic energy that comes to many people from Science of Mind, where there was something that happened that had to be shifted around the religious experience. I found Mary on my own, or she found me on her own. I don't know how it went, but it was something like this. If you've heard the story, pardon me, I'm going to tell it again because it explains why I'm wearing a Mary shirt at a Science of Mind service. So I'm at a Science of Mind retreat at Casa de Maria. Oh, such a beautiful place. And I'm sitting there meditating, and across from me was a beautiful statue of the Mother Mary. And the statue literally spoke to me. So I thought, because that's what happens with spirit, it can speak through inanimate objects, appearing inanimate, apparently. And so here I am in this situation, and it says, Mary says, come pray at my feet. And I'm thinking, hey, I'm a religious scientist. I don't need to pray at somebody's feet. I could just pray standing up. I could pray at the grocery store. I could pray in line. I could just sit here and treat, because there's nothing between me and spirit, because I am an expression of God. God is within me. God is everything. And then it hit me as a religious scientist. That means God is that Mary statue. So I went over and I prayed at her feet. And I was washed with love and forgiveness and compassion and something that doesn't even have words. It's called a numinous experience, a tremendous fascinade, a violation of celebration within the body that you say, yes, take me. And I've been studying Mary ever since. And my beautiful brother, for my birthday, had this Mary shirt made for me. And so I thought, what better day to wear the Mother Mary shirt than on Mother's Day? As I continue to talk about Mother's Day for a moment, and thanks for sticking around, those of you, it looks like you can hear me now. Yeah. And the same 23 folks that were here before are still here, so we're good. I understand also, it's come to me that, we didn't come with a manual when we came out of our mother for a living, nor did our mom. So sometimes the Mother's Day experience can bring up situations that are not always joyful, that might even feel traumatic. We didn't all have the Leave It to Beaver mom. Although, now that we look back on it, was that even a great experience? But hey, I digress. Thank goodness for evolution. All of that to say that perhaps for some of us, Mother's Day is a pop day when we want to correct, to reimagine our relationship with our mom. And if it was mom that was difficult, or maybe you were a little difficult, or maybe you were both a little difficult, there's this wonderful Hawaiian reconciliation project. It actually means correction. It's called Ho'oponopono. And the Ho'oponopono prayer is a prayer that can be said by the offender and the offended. And because there's only the one, whenever this prayer is said, it heals both, whether you have been offended or you have been the offender. And it's very simple. And I ask you now, let's do it together for the entire world that may be experiencing Mother's Day as less than a celebration at Hallmark Goods where we get cards and chocolates and candies and flowers. It may be a moment of just wanting to cuddle up inside and be like the octopus and go underneath underneath the rock, right? So it goes like this. It's very simple. 4 statements. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Think about someone, a mother, a situation where you saw a mother and a child and it wasn't the way you would have divined it to be. And say that simple prayer together right now, once more. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Let's bring Jon Newbill, our practitioner of the day, in for an opening treatment, shall we?
I recognize Spirit's presence in, through, and as all. I recognize the blessing that this service is for all in attendance from homes all over Simi Valley, all over California, all over this blessed country of ours, and from all the blessed corners of this globe. All are in this moment rising up to stand for love. Though they may have fallen face down in the arena, I am recognizing in each one here the tenacity, vulnerability, and courage to rise up for their own good and for the good of every being on the planet. Knowing love prevails always, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Jon. Thank you so much. Beautiful prayer. This is when we shift now and move into a spiritual practice that's as powerful as prayer. And that is, prayer is speaking to God and meditation is listening. And the two are part of the law of circulation, the inhalation and the exhalation, the give and the receive. We give our words, we receive the wisdom, and we receive the wisdom in silence, which is why we go into the gap, the God awareness place. And because we're going to go back into the center soon, even though the change in the format shortened the gap, I was thinking, and I've been listening to your comments about it, gap, you like it at 3 minutes. And when we go back into the sanctuary, we will still do 3 minutes. Maybe we'll even start doing 5. Do you think you could handle 5 minutes of silence in a group of people all together at one time, diving down into the silence of spirit? It's a powerful idea. But today, we're just going to do 3 minutes with Jon Newbill as he ushers us into the gap.
It's time for the gap, the God awareness place. And this morning we're going to celebrate spring with contemplating an opening. So enjoy. Hope you enjoyed that opening, and may you find your own meditation practice deeply rewarding. Namaste.
Wow, thank you, Jon. That was beautiful. It was like giving mother's flowers that opened right there in front of you. You know, it's really sweet. Thank you for that opening, for that timing to open to spirit. Very symbolic with all of that you offered us on that meditation this morning, going into the gap. You know, I was thinking during the gap, trying to just settle in to the space as well, but also feeling the vibration in my body of how excited I get moving into service and preparing for service. And I'm running around the house here getting ready, and I'm listening to gospel music, and I'm singing along with the whinings and just having a great time. And then I start, and then there's no sound, and woo, that gets you a little. So I'm gonna just sit here for a minute, enjoy the gap to just ground myself. To hear some chimes. And one of the chimes I wanted to share with you today, this is a gift I received from Johanna for my birthday. These are Koshi chimes. There are 4 of them for earth, fire, water, and air. And this is the earth chime. And I thought I would, in honor of Mother's Day, Mother Earth sound. I hope that came through as nicely through the audio of your own speaking system as it did right here in the house, just to settle in to the chimes this day. You know, life is so full. There's so much happening with life, and it seems to be happening so fast. Sometimes we just gotta walk it out, kind of like a cramp. You know, you just gotta walk it out. And I love this song that Audra Day sings, that Angela Carole Brown gave such a powerful rendition of, which is called "Rise Up." We gotta walk it out sometimes. We have to move the energy. So if you feel it, jump up and move some of that energy as our guest music artist today, Angela Carole Brown, rocks this tune, Rise Up.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find the fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out and move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up high like the waves, I'll rise up in spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains, bring it to its feet and move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day, I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up high like the waves, I'll rise up in spite of the ache, I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times
Today's talk, rise up, stand up. Rise up, stand up. Thank you, ACB. Beautiful, beautiful. And yes, Diane, that was awesome when Meredith rang that song through the sanctuary as well. And we'll have to get Angela to come and do that in person. Fly out from Kansas City and visit us. I know you're gonna come back home sometime. Excuse me, one moment. So today, rise up, stand up. Be ready to move mountains. You know, in the old school of science of mind, back in the day, they called it the science of mind and spirit. The science of mind and spirit. The science of mind was that intellectual part of understanding how the universe works, but spirit, like the letter of the law and the spirit of the law, the spirit of science of mind is something that's calling for a revolution. That's the spirit part. To call for a revolutionary spiritual truth. You see, this was a revolutionary idea to move from a God over here, a God up there, and a hell down there, and a separation in between where we were people of sin, and all we had to do was to work to forgiveness to get to a place that we know exists in consciousness through our studies. Right? And that revolutionary idea became the science of mind and spirit, part of the new thought philosophy that swept the world right after the Enlightenment, the Great Enlightenment, which some people actually call the Endarkenment, which separated science and religion, spirit and faith from reason and cognition. But it's all the one. And when you combine the two together, as we've done in Science of Mind, you get a very rich and deep spirituality. That was based on moving people away from the individual idea of themselves into an individualized idea of themselves, individualized from the one and only great thing that is God itself. And as we have moved even further, what we've come to see now, and my dear friend Masato Hirooka has redefined the idea of a revolutionary teaching that is the science of mind, and he calls it a revolutionary teaching. And that RE part of the revolutionary teaching is here to transform the world. It's here to help us move from that individual idea to a more collective idea. That revolution is for a radical evolution. The R for radical, the E for evolution. See, a revolution in its own is a fundamental change, right? It's to have a paradigm shift in how things happen, to make a big movement, right? But an evolution is more gradual. It's progressive. It sometimes can be structural. It sometimes can be institutional, as we're seeing now. We're trying to change the structure of our society to heal some institutional wounds that are taking place. But this idea of a radical evolution means radical means a couple of things here. They seem like they are against each other or opposites, but they actually are cooperative in that radical is to go to the root, right? But it's also to bring a drastic reform. So if we think of our teaching, the science of mind and spirit, just let that land on you for a minute. It feels good. It feels complete. The science of mind and spirit, so inclusive of everything. If that is calling forth a radical evolution, a drastic reform, well, where's that coming from? Where's that idea coming from? Well, Dr. Holmes says that idea is coming from the fact that it exists already. There already is this radical change, this progressive structure taking place. He speaks about it in the Science of Mind text. He says, it seems to me, and I love his optimism, it seems to me that our evolution is the result of unfolding consciousness of that which already is and needs but to be realized to become fact in everyday life. This place we are trying to go, he's telling us, is already available. It's already present in spirit, but we have to realize it in mind to make it a fact in our everyday life. We must rise up to the call and stand up to the unfolding process, and we have the tools to use that. We have this loving thing, this presence called love itself that operates through a spiritual law, a spiritual consistency, a spiritual principle that can bring the love, the oneness into reality, that can make it real. You see, love is the ultimate idea of oneness. When you're in love with something, when you're in love with someone, you feel a tightness and a kinship and a connection that cannot be severed. And when you apply the law, the impartial servant, the vehicle of evolution to the idea of love, then you begin to move forward into that goal. It makes it easier to stand up and rise up into the truth, you see. And the truth actually is, well, Cynthia Beauregard and Richard Rohr speak about it in a book they're called The Shape of God, where they say, reality is radically relational, and all the power is in the relationships themselves. Reality is radically relational. It's radical because at its root, reality is about relationship. And it's radical in that drastically we must see that the power is in those relationships. This book that they're talking about, The Shape of God, they're really talking about science and religion coming together, and they're talking about quantum fields and stuff like that, and they mention that when they say that that reality is radically relational, they're not talking about particles and planets as the reality. Yes, particles, waves, particles, streams, quarks, all that stuff, and planets, they are there, but the relationship between the particles and between the planets, you see. If there were no relationship between the particles of our bodies, there would be no bodies. There is a bond that holds us together. If there was no relationship, if there was no, what they used to call ether, which we've now proven there is no such thing as ether, but if there were no dark matter, which they've now discovered, holding in these negative gravitational forces, holding the planets in place, they would fly off and the universe would break apart into a zillion pieces. So it is about relationship that is radical. And that's what the science of mind and spirit was telling us. It was telling us to stand up for relationship, to rise up to see this truth about it. Stand up the way one of the mothers I want to feature today, Diana Bask, has done. Diana Bask was working in her company, and she was about to become a mother. She was expecting. And in that process, she saw that her relationship between her employer and her belief about her employer was flawed. That there was a challenge for women in the workplace. That there was no child care. There was no, once she had her baby, there was no place to bring her child. And if she did bring her child, there was no place if she wanted to breastfeed her child, or if she needed to go and pump during the day. She had to squeeze away into a private closet or something. There was nothing available for her. So she created an organization called A Better Balance. And interestingly enough, there are now more women in the workplace than men. And so the idea that women still must fight for their fair representation. I mean, back in the day, that Leave It to Beaver day I was talking about earlier, they had no problem having the gym at the office and the locker room for the guys. Well, now there's more women than men in the workplace. Where's the locker space for the women? Right? So this is what Diana Bass stood up. She rose up and stood up for a better life, for a better way. And she continues to do her work. Look it up, A Better Balance. Ernest Holmes talks about this in his extreme optimism and his faith in the power of the universe to heal itself. And he says that when a nation comes together, when a group, when an organization comes together in common idea, there is a soul force energy that rises up, and then people can stand up in right action and end a crisis, end a problem, end the turmoil. We can have that structural, institutional change that can take place when we can work together and rise up and make it real. It's already there. He tells us the evolution is unfolding consciousness of what already is there. We just have to make it real in mind through this radically relational idea of working together in better balance. A better balance between what is... Oh, I haven't taken that off the screen. But you heard me, and that was the important part. It's not what you don't even. I don't even need to be here. I can stand over here and just say it, because that's the important part. It's the relation between what I'm saying and what you're hearing that is valuable to me. I just tickle myself this morning. Just stand by while I laugh at me. So where I'm going here is about a better balance, working toward a better balance. And one of the areas that I feel challenged around the balance that we have in life is between what is sometimes called sacred and what is sometimes called profane. I'm not talking about profanity, which is the far end of the profane scale. I'm talking about that which we do not consider sacred. See, and we choose. We choose what we make sacred, even within our own house. I have a space here that in the house that I consider to be a sacred space. But now, Johanna and I have just recently decided that why should we have sacred spaces in our house? Our entire house should be sacred because we get to choose. And that choosing is an evidence of the constant changing and evolving ways that we get to live our lives. The way we get to stand up for something new, that we get to rise up into a different experience. Kind of like another mother I want to talk about today, Angela Carole Brown. She began working with mothers in depressed and lower income neighborhoods, primarily Black and Latino. And what she discovered was that these women were not getting the kind of health care that was needed for them to be better mothers, healthier mothers. In fact, through her research and the research of others and her own looking at the studies, she discovered that women of color are 4 times likely to die in pregnancy than women of non-color, women of white women. 4 times the pregnancy deaths, multiple times the health experience, multiple times the availability of health care. So she created something called the Black Mama Alliance to help shift that. And they have pushed through legislation to get more money pumped into health care for disadvantaged communities. You see, Dinah Basque, and Angela are proof of what happens when you decide that what was profane, what was not sacred, becomes sacred, make it sacred, and they stand up. They are proof of what Howard Thurman said in one of his lovely books, Luminous of Darkness, where he says, human life is one, and all men are members of one another. And this insight is spiritual, and it is the hard core of religious experience. Now, notice, I put a little asterisk out there next to men. I'm sure, I checked it out. Howard Thurman was definitely in his time writing with the format of the day. But when he says that human life, so he's taking human life is one, and all humans are members of one another, you see. But the interesting part of this quote is, and here's what I'm going to go back to it. This insight is spiritual. And this is the hardcore religious experience. Our hardcore religious experience is to practice oneness. Because when you fall in love, you feel one. When you can fall in love with life, we will feel one. And this religious experience, this core religious experience, is not just the providence of the Dalai Lama, the Pope, Thich Nhat Hanh. Greta Thunberg has made the earth a sacred religious experience. Angela and I has made mothers, black mothers, a sacred religious experience. Dinah Basque has made women's balance in the workplace a sacred experience. See, they have accepted this promise to rise up. See, as it was said in the song, I promise we'll take the world to its feet and move mountains, and bring it to its feet and move mountains. That's what happens when we stand up and we rise up. We can move mountains, folks. We see just a couple examples right there. People who've moved mountains. You got a teenage girl who's moving mountains around the world. And I'm not saying that we all have to be moving mountains. Sometimes a rock is plenty enough. You know, it's like the guy that, you know, the 3 guys that are building the cathedral. And when I'm saying, what are you doing? He says, I'm building a rock wall. And this is, what are you doing? I'm building a cathedral. He had the vision that each little rock was moving toward the cathedral. So whether it's to move a mountain or simply to carry a rock, we all have something that we're called to do. And that call to rise up and stand up is heard in the silence. It's heard in the loudness of the sound of silence.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence. In restless dreams I walk alone, narrow streets of cobblestone, 'neath the halo of a street lamp. I turn the color to the cold and damp, when my eyes were stabbed by the flash of a neon light that split the night and touched the sound of silence. And in the naked light I saw 10,000 people, maybe more. People talking without speaking, people hearing without listening, people writing songs that voices never shared, and no one dared disturb the sound of silence. Fools, said I, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you. But my words, like silent raindrops, fell and echoed in the wells of silence. And the people bowed and prayed to the neon god they made, and the sign flashed out its warning in the words that it was forming. And the sign said the words of the prophet are written on the subway walls and tenement halls, and whispered in the sound of silence.
Whispered in the sound of silence. Thank you, Angela. That is it. There's so much to be heard in that song. It's so many. When Paul Simon wrote it, it wasn't the hit that it was. It came out later, but the vibe of the song is about looking at what is ours to do. What are we being called to do in the history of the story of the song? Is some related to the assassination of Kennedy, a response to the assassination of Kennedy. But if that's the case, it's a response to something painful happening in our society. And there's a quote in there that I really love, and I left off one word from the quote, which is fools. This quote begins with, "Fools, you do not know. Silence like a cancer grows. Hear my words that I might teach you. Take my arms that I might reach you." This call that we hear in the silence is calling us and saying, I will pull you forward. I will help you. Because if you do not listen to me, if you do not listen to the call within you, it will metastasize. It is a cancer that grows. The disturbance, the discomfort, the irritation, the frustration with life will only complicate itself. And that's why it starts with, "Fools, I say, you do not know." Fools are those that don't pay attention. It's not someone's like, oh. It's like, see, like, I know this only because my birthday is on April 1st and April Fool's Day. And it was called April Fool's Day because the calendar changed. It used to be April 1st was the beginning of the calendar. Then it moved, the Gregorian calendar to the Grecian Gregorian calendar. It moved to January 1st. And people that did not celebrate the first of the year on January 1st after that change took place were people who were not listening. So they were called fools, you see. So if you're not listening, you will miss the fact that the frustration within you will continue to grow. But when you listen and you hear the words, they will help inform you. And not only that, will give you the strength, will literally take you and pull you up, allow you to rise up and stand up. I have a dear friend of mine who used to say, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. Well, when you're practicing the science of mind and spirit, what are you being called to stand up for? What is the radical evolutionary movement that is being pulled forth from your greater yet to be? See, Ernest tells us that this unfolding consciousness of which we are a part already has the evolutionary idea in mind, and we are supposed to bring it into life. The life spiral is always moving upward. It's not backing up. It may look like things back up, but it's always moving forward, expanding and progressing through the use of this love and the law that is continuously making things happen. Continuously making things happen. So, as we look at our lives, where do you want to go and what do you want to be? It's like that song from If I Could Dance where it says, "Time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. Tell me, who wants to look back after the years and wonder where those years have gone?" Thanks, Leanne Romack, Tia Sillers, and Mark Sanders for this beautiful song. Where do you want to go? What do you want to say? What do you want to do when you look back and the years have passed? Don't worry about it. Don't wait. Rise up. Stand up into your good. Let's go for today's affirmation, shall we?
Good morning. Here's today's affirmation. I rise up in and for love, and I keep standing for my good and the good of all.
For my good and the good of all. Say it with me. I rise up in and for love, and I keep standing for my good and for the good of all. It's time now for our revealing prayer. We'll go into prayer together and know the truth for each and every one of us in this moment. And I call it the revealing prayer because in truth, there's nothing to be healed. There's only that unfolding consciousness to be revealed in time and space. So here, on this day, on this auspicious Mother's Day, I breathe in that breath of spirit. feeling the vibration of the divine moving through every cell and fiber of my being. The truth I speak for myself right now, I know is true for each and every person that is listening, for we are one in this thing called life, one experiencing the mind of God, living in the spirit of the divine here and now. And through that understanding, I feel a continuous outflow of good in my life. I know that I am guided, guarded, and protected, and moving into my present moment with a full understanding of the evolutionary power available to me when I am in alignment with Spirit, and I align with Spirit right here and now. I know this reality, for I choose where the sacred ground is, and I know that that sacred ground is under my feet wherever I step. I remove anything that blocks the flow of this divine good in consciousness by recognizing here and now that I have the power to drop the veil of separation and stand into the expectation of good. I know that it's continuously outflowing in my life. And therefore, I walk with peace, with comfort, with joy, in harmony, in full contemplation, and in the perseverance through what appears to be less than good, knowing that with time I walk into the good, and I accept that time as present here and now in this moment of joy and peace and love. With a deep heart filled with gratitude, I release these words into that perfect law, which understands the intentions of each and every person here and delivers the noticeable evidence of their good into their experience in time, on time, this time, and so it is. I quoted the song. Let's hear the song.
I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. Get your fill to it, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give love a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some hell-bent heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens more than just a passing glance. And when you get the chance to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give love a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. Now tell me who wants to look back on their years and wonder where those years have gone. I hope you dance. I hope you die.
Ah, Angela, thank you. Your music today has been so spot on, so beautiful, and I can see from some of the comments that people are just like filled with God bumps because you've been doing these wonderful tunes today. Thank you so very much. Really grateful for your support of our service today. Okay, so we're going into our giving mode. The pledge campaign has ended, but that doesn't mean that you can't make an annual pledge. Now, the pledge is saying what you're considering giving. And when you make your pledge, if you haven't already done so, and grateful to everyone who has, but if you decide you're like, one of those, hey, wait, the deadline passed, I think I better do it. If that's where you are, and you go to write the number down, as soon as you write it down, think, and give, as Kathy Bird says, a smidge more. Remember her pizza analogy, right? Don't be the one who hasn't chipped in for the pizza. However, if you don't chip in for the pizza, you still get a slice. That's how we do it, right? Okay. Also, each week, we offer an opportunity for you to move toward fulfilling that pledge with your weekly giving amount. If you haven't made a pledge, that's okay. If you haven't made a gift, well, that's okay. If you feel called to give a gift, that's fantastic. And here's how we do it. We have several ways. You can go to our website, cslsimi.org/donating, or you can text the word give to 805-600-5677, or you can call the church office and speak to Dee or Dr. Susan at 805-527-0870. And I've noticed that even here on my own monitor, that there has been some video interruptions today. And all I can tell you is what I do is I just hit refresh and it comes back on. And you don't miss anything. It jumps back right where you left off just about. So, technology. We only have a few weeks left and we'll be back in person. However, those of you that are joining us from places afar and, the commute to the center is a little hard, we will still be here doing it virtually as well. So we're going to do Facebook, we'll be on YouTube, and we'll be on our webpage, and we'll be live in person. So we're not going to leave anybody out as we move back into in person. And that also includes those of you who aren't quite ready yet. And I get that. This has been one of those challenges. And if you're not ready to rise up and stand up to come back in person, you can still rise up early on a Sunday morning and stand up in front of your computer and watch us that way. So we'll continue to have that. Let's do our pledge of abundance, our affirmation of abundance, and know that these words apply to your particular life. It says CSL Simi Valley Now. If you want to switch it out and put your name in there, but it says CSL Simi Valley Now because you are CSL Simi Valley. It's not just the building and the paychecks and the lights and the programs and the support that we do. It's everything in life is affirmed by these words. Those words. There they are. Divine love, it's doing its perfect work here and now. Divine love harmonizes. Divine love adjusts. Divine love prospers. Divine love foresees everything and richly provides every good thing for CSL Simi Valley. Now, divine love is victorious. Please enjoy this week's announcements, followed by a blessing from Jon Newbill.
I recognize the power of the law of circulation as demonstrated by the gifts now being given and received, knowing that this love is expressing as God in action. The abundance of each participant in this process is like a free-flowing stream that brings exactly what is needed to each one it touches. It is good and very good, and so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Jon. Thank you for your service today as Practitioner of the Day. Thank you so much, Angela Carole Brown, for your music, for Cherie Deeds and Soul Purpose Band and all the members of the band. Thank you for being here and for your support and the recordings that you did. That means thanking the Collins family for giving us the backyard studio to do those recordings as well. Appreciate every one of you and all of your comments, and particularly your co-production skills today and helping me source out our audio problem. It's so funny. It's just a simple button to go mute, and then oops, did I do it again? But that time I knew what I was doing. As Diane Klimczak said, your human condition is really showing up today. Yes, I love being human. It's so fun to make mistakes because you learn so much. Really, it is. You learn so much, right? Let's see, who was I? Oh yeah, I really want to thank our crew that's been busy working already to get things back together. The Giants were at the center yesterday doing some work. Dr. Susan, Lane, Bridget. I've been there toting and bailing as well. And you saw the call for volunteers. If you'd like to help out, just talk to Dr. Susan or Lane Taylor, and they will put you to work, okay? It's our place, so let's make our place just spick and span and spotless. Oh, and thank Mona Sandoval for her creative ideas that she's been sharing with us as well on what to do. I don't think I left anybody out. Oh, I also want to tell you we will be having an Opera Virch, a very short Opera Virch, because it is Mother's Day, and we're gonna end at noon, keeping it 100%, keeping it real. We're gonna end right at noon, and I will post the Opera Virch link right now, and also pin that as soon as it posts. I'll pin it, and then I will leave it up. I'll leave the live stream up a little bit longer because I understand that after I in the live stream, you lose access to the link. So I'll leave that up. Will be a song, and I'll play the Jamie Lula song again or something to maybe. Oh, how about a second Angela song? Maybe I'll do that. Okay. All right. Special guest visitor with us next week, Reverend Maureen Hoyt. I'm so excited. Reverend Mo's going to be in the house. Man, what a powerful speaker. What a powerful consciousness. If you have not had the experience of Reverend Maureen, Dr. Maureen Hoyt in your life, please, next week, tell your friends, come and support and be here to hear the words of wisdom downloaded from one of our spiritual gurus, our spiritual giants of science and mind. I'm so excited to have her with us next week. Okay? Here's our closing benediction, and then we will have another sweet tune from Angela to get something to get us up and get us moving throughout the rest of the day so we can all be like Mark and Dina, who got up and danced through that song. Mark, you were dancing? Careful, dude. You just had new body parts. Be easy on those things. Here we go. It's a little lag time today. I'm at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love.
Something's got a hold on me. Oh, it must be love. Something's got a hold on me right now. Oh, it must be love. Let me tell you now, I never felt like this before. Something's got a hold and it won't let go. Believe I'd fly if I only could. It sounds so strange, but it sure feels good. I said, oh, 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 yeah. I said, oh, child. never thought it could happen to me. You got me happy when I was in misery. I never thought it could be this way. I love my God all night and day. God sure taught me what love could be. God sure gonna put a healing on me. I said, oh, 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 it must be love. You know it walks like love, and it talks like love. Makes me feel alright every day and night. So if it feels like love, and if it struts like love, and if it grooves like love, you know it's got to be love. I hope you never lose your sense of wonder. Get your fill to eat, but always keep that hunger. May you never take one single breath for granted. God forbid love ever leave you empty-handed. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give love a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some hell-bent heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens more than just a passing glance. And when you get the chance to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give love a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, time is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along. Now tell me who wants to look back on their years and wonder where those years have gone. I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope